Good morning, grade 2. It's Thursday, April 16th, 2020. And I've wrote your items again. If you'd like to get out your assignment book and write in your assignments so that can help you and check them off the list when you get it done, that would be a great idea. All right, so here we have our religion work for today is going to be Israel and Judah exiled. So you have a different story to read than you did yesterday, okay? Shorter week here, but we still have 2 stories that I'd like you to take care of. Yesterday's was kind of just an overview of the kind of stories we're going to have coming up here and stories that go along with the Israelites while they are in captivity, when they are exiled and away from Jerusalem. And so today, read over the story of Israel and Judah being exiled and discuss with your family the questions that are on the second page there. Make sure that you have read your epic books for your DT3 today. Oh, I forgot to put that on the board. What? Mrs. Stolt. Now I'm in big trouble. We'll put that on in a second, okay? You again have 2 books to read today and 2 AR tests to take on that. Speaking of reading and taking AR tests, it looks to me like most of you have not taken the AR test on stirring up memories. Remember, when you want to take an AR test, it's important that you do it soon after you read the book so that you don't get the facts mixed up in your head. You want to do a good job on your tests, okay? Because that's part of your grade for reading. So if it's been a while since you read Stirring Up Memories and you did not take the AR test on it, I'm expecting you to read it again and take the AR test on it. Now, oftentimes it happens that some of these stories I have read to the whole class and you have taken a test on it in the past. It is not okay with me for you to just say, yep, I already took the test on it. You do need to reread the book this time and then try to take the test. If you're not able to take it, having read by yourself, then certainly send me a message and say, I read the book, but I wasn't able to redo the test. That's all I need. Thank you. And then you'll be finishing your packet for that as well. For math, we have a worksheet to go through together today, worksheet 118 and then lesson 118. And then, did you know today is wear your pajamas to work day? Tell your moms and dads. How are you staying active? How are you staying artsy? What are some things that you're doing? Something that we did in our neighborhood last week, the neighbor boy and I, he did it on his sidewalk and I did it on mine. We made an extreme sidewalk challenge for people to do as they came by. Unfortunately, we got those huge snows and it all washed away, but I think we'll do it again. That was a lot of fun. Okay. Make sure you're still up with your nursing home letters. You have a spelling test today. Make sure you do your spelling test on Spelling City on the words from Stirring Up Memories. And then you also have a memory treasure for me today. In fact, 2 of them. So I look forward to seeing a video or having you call me with your memory treasures. And then for science, we're working on plants yet, okay? And a little bit later, I will send you a video that goes along with our plants. I want to do that separately. Our math lesson's a little bit longer today. Alrighty? So here we go. If you don't already have your math packet and a pencil handy, would you pause the video and go and get those things? I'm going to go to my other screen. Alrighty. Now, if you notice, I have a geo board out here again today, and our worksheet for 118 kind of looks like geo boards again, doesn't it? What kind of line segments am I giving you here? Parallel. No matter how I turn it, if these line segments would keep going forever and ever and ever and ever, they would never touch. Never at all. Now I'm going to do some other kinds of line segments today. I am going to take my yellow off, and what if I go like that? Are they parallel line segments anymore? Not at all. Now they intersect. See this point right here where the 2 lines cross? That's called the intersection. And so now these 2 lines, when I moved that yellow one, they are now intersecting lines. Think about like when you come to a stoplight or a stop sign when you're driving. Well, when mom or dad are driving, that's called an intersection. So this is the intersection where these 2 lines cross. And you oftentimes have an intersection where 2 roads cross. Now, oftentimes the intersection where 2 roads cross creates this type of special line called perpendicular, perpendicular. Do you remember when we were making right angles last week or the week before? When you make that right angle, you are using perpendicular line segments. So this yellow line segment and this blue line segment, they now are perpendicular line segments. And that's that big word on the top of your page there. Perpendicular line segments. Do you remember how you can tell if something has a right angle? Well, guess what? You use that same tool to tell if they are perpendicular, because if they are perpendicular, they make a right angle. So we have a right angle right there. We have a right angle on that side. We have a right angle down at the bottom here. Oh, my little square is getting away from me. We have a right angle there. And we have a right angle here. Perpendicular line segments, okay? So what I'd like you to do is we're going to use our pencils, and if you want to use a ruler, you can as well. And we're going to, first of all, make this set of line segments, just like I have on my geoboard here. Let's make those line segments in box 1. So if I go into my box, I have to go over to the second line and go down 4. That's going to be my first perpendicular line. And then for the next, for my yellow one, I'm right in the middle, aren't I? Okay, so I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to connect the dots all the way across. Now remember what I said. Wherever those two line segments meet, that makes a right angle. And so I want you to draw that little right angle square to show that these are perpendicular. So perpendicular line segments, what do they also make? They create right angles. All right. I'm going to make some shapes here for 2, 3, and 4. And let's see if we can find any right angles. And remember what that means? That means that those are perpendicular line segments. All right, let's take a look at this one here. All right, so if we recreate that on our page, we're going to come 2 rows in, and our first line is going to be just like the one we did in our first box. Then we're going to stay on that line and go out to the side. And then we're going to connect that top one and the bottom one right through those other dots. All right. Do you see any intersecting lines? Yes, this line segment intersects with this one. This line segment also intersects with the bottom one. And then this line on the left side also intersects with the bottom one. Now they do create a shape. Those line segments create a shape, but they still are intersecting. Are any of them special perpendicular line segments? And that means that if I take my square, I can fit it and both sides will touch. That touches the bottom, but it doesn't touch the right side. How about this one? Touches the side, but it doesn't touch the top. Are you telling me to go down here? You found it. Yep, right there. That one is a right angle. And so which two line segments are perpendicular? I'm going to put an X on them. This one and this one, they are perpendicular to each other. Where they intersect, where they meet, creates a right angle. All right. Here's what I would like you to do on the bottom two. I know you don't have a geoboard to be able to practice first, but I want you to either do just lines, like we did in number 1, or make a shape like we did in number 2 and make perpendicular line segments for me, one set in number 3. So that means you have to have at least 2 lines, right? And one set in number 4. Any place where you can make a right angle, excuse me, I had a sneeze sneak up on me. Any place where you can make a right angle, that is a spot where there are perpendicular line segments. You know what? I'm going to do number 3 with you just to show you that you can have more than one set. For example, just like we had only 2 lines here, there's one set of perpendicular lines, but what if I make this shape? What if I make this shape right there? Okay, slide that up a little bit so you can see it. How many sets of perpendicular line segments do we have there? Well, first let's draw our shape and then let's find them. So again, we go across right here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Connect those two. And then a short one here. Now, every spot that you have a corner is a spot where you have a chance for perpendicular line segments. Those are all intersections where you have those angles. Those are all intersections. So let's try each one and see, for example, is this line segment perpendicular to the one it touches? And that's the only, they have to be touching, don't they? No, they don't make a right angle. So these two are not perpendicular to one another. Oh, look at that. So this line segment here on the left and this line segment on the right, there's one set of perpendicular lines. Let's try this one. Yep, so this line segment, and I'm going to put a circle there. This line segment is also perpendicular to this line segment. So these two are perpendicular to one another. These two are perpendicular to one another. These two are not perpendicular to one another. They actually happen to be parallel, don't they? And we can tell by our last one, that one's not perpendicular either. It's way bigger than that, way bigger than a right angle, okay? So this created a perpendicular line segment, and this created a perpendicular line segments. Here's a match. Here's a set. Here's a set. Here's a set. So this one has 2 sets. All right. Number 1 had 1 set of perpendicular line segments. Number 2 had 1 set of perpendicular line segment. Number 3 had 2 sets of perpendicular line segments. What will you create for me on number 4? Remember, you have to have at least one set, one pair of perpendicular line segments. See if you can find that, and then take a picture of this and send it to me. All right, we're going to go back to me. Hello, how's it going? All right, I think most of you had on where it was asking you what type of problem we're doing when we're multiplying. It's true, it is multiplying, but I also want you to remember the special terms that we use. Equal groups, okay? So remember that when you're doing your work and it asks you what type of story problem is this, we're working with equal groups when we do multiplication. Just like when we add, what do we call that? Yes, it's addition, but we call it a some more story. When we subtract, we call it a some went away story, all right? And those are terms that we'll be using throughout all of your math here for Saxon especially, all righty? I think that's it for today. Look at all the reminders that you have of things to do. Look for a separate video to see how our flowers are doing for science. I think you'll be surprised. See you soon.